Tim Collins with Cullman today. I'm the chambers of Gregory A. Nicholas, our presiding circuit judge here in the 32nd Circuit, also known as Cullman County Judge. Thanks for talking to me today.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad to do it.
Now, I understand you are a freshly qualified candidate for re-election.
I am. I went down, and this will hopefully be the beginning of my third term.
That paperwork is tedious, isn't it?
It is. Even for somebody that's trained in dealing with legalese, it takes a little while to sort through the paperwork. And of course, you want to make sure that you get it right if you're a candidate for public office. But I think it's even more important when you're a judicial candidate that you make sure that you comply with all of the legal requirements.
And that would look bad if you didn't, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Now, people are going to get their chance to vote for you and many other folks in the county over the coming months. Like anybody, the voters are going to go, well, what has Judge Nicholas done for me lately? So can you talk about your accomplishm's over the last 6 years or so?
Tim, I'll be glad to do that. I will say this. The judge's job is a little different than most other elected officials. As a judge, I can't pave any roads. Unfortunately, I can't lower your taxes. So some of the traditional things and some of the traditional promises that people running for elective office make, I really can't make in good faith. I can't even promise that if you come into my courtroom that I'm going to rule in your favor. But what I can promise you is this. If I'm elected, I'll continue doing what I've tried to do for these past 11 years. I'll try to make sure that I treat everyone respectfully and courteously. I'll also make sure that every side gets to be heard, because I think that's important. Every person needs to leave the courtroom having expressed everything that he or she feels that they need to say with respect to their case. I never want anybody to leave the courtroom and feel like the judge didn't give me an opportunity to tell about their case. So that's something that I can promise to do in each and every case that comes before me. I've also learned long ago, my first year on the bench, there's no little cases. When I first started out, I was a district judge who would occasionally handle small claims cases. And what I found over the years, the person that's coming to court suing over $100 or being sued for $100, that case is just as important to them as a $1 million case may be that's filed in the circuit court. So that's how I try to approach all of my cases. I try to give them the same degree of scrutiny that I would want my own case handled or a case of a loved one handled. So I can promise that I will continue to do that if the people of Cullman County allow me to continue serving them.
Well, let me shift gears on you. The judge's job is an elective office. You've got to go out and campaign if you have opposition. Now, I've not heard of anybody who's seriously going to oppose you, but let's assume you have a candidate. How do you campaign? Do you go door to door, go to senior centers? Do you have airplanes that put your name with smoke coming out of the back of them? How do you go about campaigning for this job?
That's a fair question, and I was fortunate when I was elected to this office 6 years ago. I didn't have any opposition, but I don't want to take any one's vote or support for granted. And of course, I may have opposition in this case, and if I do, then I'm going to expect, like any other candidate, to go out and ask for people's vote, try to earn that vote, and that's what I'll do. I expect to do all of the above, with perhaps the exception, I don't know if my campaign budget will support aircraft, but I will go door to door, and I will ask people for their votes and for their support, and quite frankly for their prayers. I think every elected official really covets the prayers of individuals, because we are making decisions as judges that affect everyone's lives. And I realize that, and I think most elected officials do, and most judges do. The people have given you the authority to make decisions regarding people's life and liberty, regarding custody of their children. And those are decisions that weigh heavily on judges, and you have to make the hard calls. You have to make those hard decisions. But you want desperately to make the right decision in each case. And you give it all the deliberation that you can, and you research the case all that you can to get it right. But at the end of the day, it's your decision to make, and it can be a lonely job sometimes. There's nobody else that's going to sign that order but you. So you do ask for prayer and guidance when you're making those important decisions that do affect people's lives.
It's really a lonely job in many ways, but somebody's got to do it, right?
Yes, sir, there is. And I've been really blessed and fortunate to be able to do that for the past 11 years. I hope I've gotten the right decision more often than not. But I don't have any illusions either. I fully understand that just because I put on the black robe, that doesn't make me infallible. You try to be consistent with your rulings. You try to treat all people the same way, regardless of their station in life, regardless of who they are, and that really is not all that difficult to do, quite frankly. You treat people fairly, follow the rule of law. There's a lot of cases that I have to decide that I don't necessarily agree with the law, but I have to make the decision that the law requires. Not a decision that I might personally want to make, because as a judge, I'm required, I've taken an oath to follow what the law says, and I have no problem with that. I'm glad to do that. In fact, I think some of our federal brethren sometimes have gotten away from what the law says they should do in the rulings, and have, on occasion perhaps, ruled based upon their own opinions, and that's just
I think that's
philosophical.
legislating from the bench, correct?
Yes, sir, it is, and that's exactly right. And if I wanted to be a legislator, then I wouldn't be running for judge. I should probably be running for a state house or Senate seat, but that's not what I want to do. I have it's been my privilege to serve as district judge and now circuit judge, and that's the position I'm running for.
Now I'm going to ask you one more question. Not only are you the circuit judge, but you're the presiding circuit judge. For people who don't know what that means you're the boss man in the 32nd Circuit in this courthouse in the judicial system. What added responsibilities do you take on as presiding judge?
Well, that title sounds really grand, and there is a statute that sets forth the duties of the presiding circuit judge. And you have some supervisory responsibility over other judges and the clerk, and I'm fortunate, and we're fortunate, the community is fortunate in that we have such great elected officials here that really that part of my job doesn't require much additional work. But there is some administrative responsibilities that go with that job, and that does take some time. And if there are issues that need to be resolved from time to time, I'll have people come to my office, and we'll work through those in a collaborative way, and usually we'll find a resolution that satisfies most of the people involved. So I'm certainly proud to have had that position for the last 6 years.
Judge, I appreciate you taking a little bit of time and talking to me. I wish you the best in the upcoming campaign. Re-election season is here.
All right. Thank you, Tim.